Alright, this will be the first of a series of videos on putting together a Mopar small block. This happens to be a Magnum motor, 5.9. So I've already gotten this block back from the machine shop. I would recommend spending quite a bit of time cleaning out the block, going through all the passages. You can go through them with a set of hole cleaning brushes like this. Get all the dirt debris out there. I probably spent about 3 hours cleaning this thing out. Prior to it going to the machine shop, you can deburr a lot of the edges for the main caps and spots where like the mating surfaces are flat and need really smooth machining. So some of those things kind of keep things from sealing incorrectly as you go down the road. This one I've already had the crank in and I checked all the tolerances with plastic gauge, but so just wanted to talk a little bit about the block here, and then we'll move on to the next step of putting in the rear main seal, then setting the crank in. Okay, here's the rear main seal. You can see that the end of the gap here is two different sizes. You want that fat part pointing towards the inside of the motor or towards the front of the block, and then that kind of skinnier side towards the outside. So I've already cleaned out the surface inside here and double checked that the back side of this thing wasn't dirty at all. And then you just kind of pop it in. Some people will leave like an end they say needs to stick up and opposite on each side. I don't know, you can choose whether you want to do that or not. I'm not going to on this, but I am going to dab some RTV gasket material here on the corners, and then a little bit up here on the edges. Well, here we are, greased up on the seal and got some RTV on the corners. I didn't want to go too crazy. It'll kind of flatten out as you put the cap on and seal it down. Let's set the crankshaft in. Check and make sure it rotates a little bit freely here. Feels good, no binding. Let's get the caps on. Now, one thing I'm doing as I go here, I got the first cap in. It's not torqued down, but kind of settled it down in, tapped it down with a hammer, and just lightly got these bolts down. They're not torqued down yet, but I'd recommend what I'm going to do is go through all the caps and do them one by one, that method, before torquing any of them down, and double check the crank is smooth as I go. I will even be checking that as I start torquing them all down. So I would just constantly be checking the rotating assembly against the bearings as you insert everything for smoothness, just so you can catch any binding that might be occurring. Perhaps something got on a surface somehow. So we'll continue on. Okay, so with all the caps on, just kind of finger tight, I want to check the end play on this thing. I have a dial indicator here on one of the counterweights in between the third and fourth main cap. It's zeroed out, and I'm just going to pry from the back here on the counterweight towards the front of the engine and see how much movement we get. I'm measuring about 4 thou. I believe the spec's 2 to 7, so we're right there in the middle. So we'll go ahead and start torquing all these caps up, starting with the main ones, or the third one, the middle one. We'll work our way out, and we'll go in like 10 foot-pound increments or something, so we'll kind of stagger it and not just go to the full 85 from this point. Alright, here we are in the final torque sequence up to 85. Still want to be able to turn this by hand. Should be pretty easy. Okay, so there we go. It's up to 85. Now let's maybe put an inch-pound torque wrench on the front, just kind of see what it takes to break this thing over. So I'd say we're getting, once we're moving here, boy, maybe 5 to 7, maybe up to 10 inches, inch-pounds. Yeah, that's nice. This thing, I almost have this wrench at the right height with the weight on the end here. It almost wants to rotate itself. Let's see, will it drop? So I'm happy with that. Seems to rotate very freely. I guess we're on to the next steps.